People who have an avoidant attachment appear powerful because they play hot and cold games. So when they start making someone like you very anxious, you start playing games that you never wanted to play. Delaying responses, artificially pulling back, matching and mirroring energy. This is all manufactured to try to regain the power that you feel you have lost. Avoidant neglect is triggering you to copy their distance because it looks like power and it's hurting you. But when someone that you love neglects you or discards you, you feel small and left behind. And after some time passes, this resentment kicks in because you look back and you think about how much you gave and they still abandoned you anyway. They're still jerking around your emotions. And now you don't just feel left behind. You feel used, and that is the moment you decide you are no longer going to be the anxious chaser. Now you begin playing the games, and these moves don't feel normal, but they do feel necessary in order to win. My name is Maria, and I know exactly where you're coming from, but I'm here to warn you. If you have spent a long time feeling powerless in your relationships, you probably don't know what real power looks like, especially in a moment of texting panic. And that's not your fault, but it does leave you vulnerable to taking some really bad advice. So if you're ready to take back your strength from games that make you look weak, learn why your brain mistakes games for power in the first place, and why avoidant game players don't get to ride off into the good life, you know what to do. Grab that bottle of nail polish and let's talk. So let's talk about why this advice seems so powerful. The reason this stuff looks like power is because these are all of the toxic behaviors that the people we are being discarded by display. You want to know the wildest thing I began to recognize while I was watching these videos? All of these things the coaches were telling you to do in order to gain power in your relationships, like, yeah, they're super toxic. But they're also things that all of your toxic exes are doing. But your exes aren't watching videos on how to do this stuff. They're just doing it naturally. And it's throwing your life into complete chaos. Toxic people do play toxic games, but to them, it's not a game. It's just kind of their personality. It's how they were wired to navigate their relationships. Essentially, these power games are teaching you how to copy the person who is emotionally neglecting you. I had this video come through my feed. I hadn't seen this coach in years. Now, this is a guy I used to think gave great advice on how to win power in your romantic life. But one of the first things I noticed is the comments didn't match the powerful message of the video. And that's always a red flag. You know, like these how to get your avoidant ex back coaches try to convince you that avoidants are just scared. They're not really abusive, but everyone in the comments is like, run for your life. Yeah, there's your sign that the person in the video might not actually know a whole lot about relationships. But anyway, so at first, when I saw the commenters saying things like, ugh, this is so exhausting. Why can't we just be real in dating? Why do we have to play all these games? Well, my first thought was to stick up for that guy and say, no, listen to the video. It's about self-respect. But then my ears caught up to my eyes, and I heard that coach saying things like, preemptively break up with someone who's not matching your energy to raise their anxiety. And if a guy hasn't texted you in 2 weeks, pretend like you only wanted to be friends anyway. That way it'll bruise his ego and make him chase. Back then, I thought these games were power, and that makes sense because at that time in my life, I was in a weakened emotional state, reeling from an avoidant discard. Games look like power because hot and cold behavior works on us. It doesn't work for us. It's natural to a fearful avoidant, but it's exhausting to our brains. I once had a guy do the takeaway on me, where he asked me to come out with him, and I was being wishy-washy and hesitant because on paper, he did look good, but there was just no spark, you know? So maybe I threw out an excuse. He didn't even wait for my answer. He prematurely took the date off of the table. And it triggered me. And I was like, no, 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 I'm free. Let's meet for a drink. He did the takeaway and it worked. I did go on the date, but it didn't make me like him any more than I originally did before we ever went out on the date. And I never agreed to a second one. The game just triggered my anxiety. But triggering someone's anxiety is not a healthy way to keep them in your life. If you want someone to stick around, show them your strength in your life that consists of things you are passionate about, projects you're working on, goals, loving relationships you are fostering, including the one you have with yourself. They aren't your sole focus. And yes, you want to take very good care of them. But let them also see that you are taking very good care of your own life and you are busy having respect for yourself. They're not going to risk losing you over disrespectful games like blowing off your text messages whenever they feel like it. And if they do, they aren't for you. Let them go. Don't let them train you to be the game-playing villain. You're not going to be good at it because it's not who you are. And sadly, the people who double down and make the commitment to practice this and use this stuff, they never truly become happy because they know their actions are now manufactured. And the people who get into relationships with them, i.e. the people who fell for their games, they're not going to respect them. And how can you ever truly fall in love with someone that you don't respect? You can't. Which is why people who teach this stuff, I mean, maybe it's just me, but it seems like a lot of these people are chronically single year after year. So you have to ask, what is the point of all the games? What is the end game? To be just like your ex, piss a bunch of people off, and die alone? No! Welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We need to take care of the inner half. Because waiting for someone to undo their rejection of you while simultaneously trying to emotionally manipulate them doesn't make you seem any hotter, but it does make you feel like hot garbage. And let's not gloss over the fact that it absolutely will do something negative to you psychologically when you feel like you have to play games in order to get a response from people. That's why games might feel good at first, but they have diminishing returns. Because they may have started with you trying to get an ex back or re-attracting someone's interest, but at some point it flips. You're not even sure you want your ex anymore, but this has gone on a while and the behavior has become borderline embarrassing. And now you're just trying to get your dignity back. It's because you're being triggered into doing things that don't match who you are. It's not you. And this is not your story, and thank goodness. Because some people go down this road, they get a taste of what they misguidedly perceive as power, and they reach the point of no return. They stick with the games now, and they feel a lot of regret later. Because here's the thing about regret. We all want our ex to regret the way that they treated us right now, especially because we were so good to them. But what you don't realize is none of all this junk is necessary. Because not only will they regret how they treated you, they're going to regret the way they treated a lot of people in their life, because people like this have a pattern, and it's with everybody. It is not just with romantic partners. People who play games and run away and abandon people who care about them, they're the ones who end up losing their stuffing because over the years they watch everybody else move on with their lives. Nobody wants to deal with their BS games anymore. Game players end up losing good people, so the best strategy is to learn from their mistakes. Don't let the avoidant in your life who hurt you win. Don't let them turn you into someone else's villain. And can I just ask you, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but what even makes you think you can win against people like this? Your toxic games are artificially manufactured. You don't actually feel that way. You don't want to be just friends. You don't want to pull away and create distance. You don't want to act like you don't love people. This is all the crap they're doing because of their own messed up reasons. These hot and cold actions aren't a game to them. It's natural. That's how they grew up surviving in the world. You merely adopted the game. They were born into it, molded by it. Don't let their bad behavior turn you into the villain. Don't let all of the work you have done on your healing be in vain. This color is actually called Euphoria, but I couldn't help myself. But if you'd like to know a few ways I was able to help myself be genuinely more attractive without having to play anxious games on dates, I'll put that video right here. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting The Other Half.
If you're true to who you are, so love me.